Jonathan Tavernari.
He's
back
in studio. What's up, JT?
Welcome, brother.
Appreciate it, fellas.
How many titles did you win again? Conference titles?
3. Yeah. And a box out away from 4.
Oh.
Noah Hard Sox fault, that one. It's true. Go look.
Wow, we're firing bullets out of the gate.
He tried to go block a shot, and instead of boxing his guy out. So
yeah. Let him know,
we're
JT.
starting on that note. Wow,
Let him know.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Okay, already dropping bombs. I love it. I love it. What did you learn about BYU in their first and only public exhibition on Friday against UT Tyler?
That if we can consistently make 40-45% of three-pointers on a nightly basis, we're going to have a really fun season. Just these exhibition games they're a no-win scenario, because if they lose like Cal State did, then you're just, kind of like the shame of the village because you lost to a D2 team. Appalachian State, Michigan, if you guys remember.
Oh, yeah.
But if you win, it's like, hey, guys, good job. It was Friday, Saturday, we got practice because you guys did not more than what you were supposed to do.
You won by 50, ho-hum.
Right. And so, but the way that they played, and I believe the clips are showing right now, it was sharing the ball, extra passes. It was slashing and kicking it out. And, I mean, we were loaded with shooters, and Jake got going, Trav got going. And so it was, my thing is with the whole thing with Yoli and Gavin and now with Jesse, if we can, I remember, I think Ben Criddle and Greg Rubel were talking about 37%, 38% from 3. If we can shoot around 40, 42, I think we're going to have a great, great season.
Okay, 28 teams last year in college basketball shot 38% or better. 5 shot 40% or better.
Yeah,
is it realistic to be in that area? That's tough, right?
I mean,
with the new 3-point line.
It doesn't matter though, because if these guys, when I get to play with them, especially in the summertime, obviously now way less, but we're all shooting from way back anyway, and so it's really not that big of a difference. But I don't see why not. But obviously there's going to be cold nights where we're going to go 2 for 21. Right? And we're going to have to figure out a way to win. I mean, Coach Pope was talking about being tough, being physical, and, those nights where the inside game where Jake can back up somebody a little bit, or Kobe can, be an inside presence. But if we, night in and night out, can knock down 40+%, I think we're going to be really tough to beat.
Jonathan Tavernari with us on BYU Sports Nation. We're talking BYU basketball because the season tips off tonight. What are your season expectations for this team, knowing that Yoli Childs will miss the first 9 games and Gavin Baxter is out for the entire season?
Yeah, I think, obviously, he said it, so I can say it, the NCAA is dumb. I really think it's dumb because he even paid back everything that happened. And so why not just –
with interest.
Why not just make then community service, which I know that nowadays is a possibility. So I think that was ludicrous, and that was extremely ridiculous. But we have to be realistic. Your best player, your senior best player, how long has it been? Ever since Kyle Collinsworth graduated, that we're talking about a senior best player, and he's out for a third of the season, pretty much. And it will be felt. You know what I mean? We can't kid ourselves, and we hope for the best, but you plan for the you plan for the worst. But how do you not feel that? And I feel like Gavin last year, before the WCC tournament debacle against USD, but he was coming into his own. 15, 20, 25-point games, double-double, putbacks, and he was being an energy glue guy, like you mentioned earlier. And so, obviously Yoli comes back afterwards, but you're going to feel Gavin. And I will say this, and no knock on Jesse, but we are going to miss Gav way more than we're going to miss the period that Jesse's out, because by the way, it's Barcello. It's not Barcelo. All right. Let's make sure we get that clear.
If we're talking Italian, yes.
Right. But anyway, Alex is going to be there, and you have Trav, who showed at the exhibition game just all these things that you can do, and all these guys. TJ is going to get better. Same thing with Evan. But, I think that Gavin's absence for the entire year, which is a shame, because last year you could switch, between him and Yoli, the 4 and the 5, and play up and down and switch it on the small ball and all of that. And they're definitely going to miss him.
Those first 9 games are going to be tough. I think BYU's got those first 9. I'm with you on you got to be in the 40% 3-point range to give yourself a shot against these kind of tougher competition. And BYU's got a tough schedule with potentially Kansas, still have UCLA, San Diego State, UNLV. Utah State's a top 20 team.
Houston's no pushover.
Nevada's not bad with Steve Alford, my buddy.
Your buddy,
right?
Yep.
Right.
We should have you walking the line like as a GA. Just, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, but what I would say is, and just based on the expectations, right? Because you guys were talking about earlier in the show about NCAA or bust. Now, here's the thing. I don't personally think it's NCAA or bust because here's the thing. Up until Kyle graduated, up until KC was here and, most triple-doubles ever and all that, we were either a always presence in the NCAA tournament or we were making deep runs into the NIT, which I don't consider a bust, right? That's a solid season.
A bust is not making the NIT.
I think a bust is not making the NIT or doing well there. Dad would say, I would say like, okay, well, if we're a bubble team, that's different. But I think that to make the NCAA run, to maybe, get to the NCAA tournament, we need to shoot 4% or better from 3.
Okay, so that's the
offset
key.
no size, right?
Not only that, but to offset the fact that we need to win games when they matter. You know what I mean? And Gonzaga, great team, and I know we always talk about Gonzaga. We're gonna roll over them and St. Mary's and all that, but it obviously those games you get up for those games. So the worry shouldn't be about can we beat Gonzaga, can we beat St. Mary's, but can we get hyped enough to go into Loyola Marymount and just run them off the court at their place? Can we get excited enough when we go to USD or when we go to some of these other schools to Pepperdine? That's, my gym at Bishop Gorman is bigger than Pepperdine's. It looks like, it looks like an auditorium, and so how do we have the perception of, we're going to run these guys off the floor because we're BYU, and the perception about BYU is it's always been here, right? It's slowly coming, but I think something that Mark brings back is the fact that with BYU, young guy, energetic, has to prove himself, because with all the respect of Mark Madsen, who is one of my great friends, but BYU, right, and then UVU, when it comes to the perception about the basketball program.
Sure.
And so we have to get back to that of not only just, hey, let's beat Gonzaga, let's beat St. Mary's, but let's get ranked. Let's run these teams that should have no business being on the same court as us. And to do that, we need to shoot, quite well from outside.
JT for 3. Great to have you back, man.
Appreciate it.
We need to do this again soon.
Let's do it.
Just make your way to the locker room and give them a pregame speech. I need you to fire them up, okay?
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks so much.